movie notes on The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. I'm for the purposes of titling this The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, it's actually The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. It's a 2003 film, and so for the title, it'll be Return of the King, but in the video description it says The Return of the King. And so I just finished viewing this today, Monday, 14 October 2024. So it's a little over 3 hours, but not quite 3.5 hours. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Norway and United States of America. And this is part of, there's 3 movies. There's The Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, the Twin Towers, and then The Return of the King. And so I was like, how do I describe this for a video description? So this is the best I could come up with for this viewing. It's a fiction film about war between 2 groups in a place called Middle Earth, the return of a king to a corresponding ruling region, and an attempt to destroy a ring whose possession is desired by one side of the warring factions. Okay. Broadly, that's all I can categorize the sequence of events into like one of those 3 storylines, but they all kind of merge together because it's about Middle Earth becoming a happy kingdom, well, place again with a kingdom where the king was not in place in the kingdom. You know, the people were miserable and being treated poorly and stuff, and so there we go. This is my own personal copy. Yeah, I was like that kid that got out Sharpies. I was on swim team, you know, growing up, and other sports stuff, and I was just like at school, and I would take a Sharpie and write LOTR, you know, on myself. Lord of the Rings. Okay. So I like this stuff. I love the music. I did get to thinking, so if the characters were changed to not be based on anyone real, does that mean the genders are switched, right? Like the easiest way to do that for fiction is to take and just switch the genders of real people. So the real king is female, not male, and that scene in this movie where they present the king with a woman would actually be, in real life, they present the king with a man. It's a female king. They present a man. Okay, so that did come to mind. And I'm gonna do, well, I'll go through the rest of my notes. A little mini feast, a baby feast. So we got, this is a Franz English muffin, about 1/2. This is an egg dish, 3 sausage links, and then 2 pieces of bacon. It's the holidays. I'm not going to try and do this every day, but it's like mid-February. Not mid-February, it's mid-October, and I haven't done this yet. The egg dish has like, the bottom is entirely a nice high-quality cheese. So it's rather high calorie. Oh, it's so good. So, I was thinking of, where has there in my life been a king restored? So, restoration of Scar Baby, she, her, hers, to King of the Universe. Scar Baby is a gray squirrel in the backyard. I think she's at least part western gray squirrel, a native species to the Pacific Northwest United States of America. She's Native American. Okay. They are a threatened species, and that is common as the eastern gray squirrels, at least currently. We could work on it. It's good to have common wild animals. It's a desirable status. Okay, so the progression went a little bit like this. I had 1 dwarf rat, Rosalita Bonita Allegra Leonardi. And then I had roughly, I'm going by species, kind of, here's the English muffin. This is from, Dad saved it and brought it back from men's breakfast on Saturday at church, where he made breakfast for people. So it's 2 days old, so it's a little stale, but I still like it. So after the dwarf rat, by species, and I think chronology within that, I had 2 mice, Penny and Lucky. And after that, I had 3 hamsters, Butterscotch, Jersey, and Sheila. Sheila was my last domesticated rodent. She died when I was about 14 years old. Yeah, Sheila means female. On a different continent. I'm in the greater Seattle area currently. So those 6 were all female, and my parents did not let me overlap. I was allowed 1 rodent with 1 cage. 1 cage only. So there we go. After that, squirrels return more prominently to my life story in the mid to late 2010s, and Scar Baby assumes the throne with her name in the first half of the year 2020. Yeah. She's older per just, this decade. And then the only rodent who might have lived about as long as she did is Sheila. Just saying something. Because Scar Baby is wild. And the Scar Baby is returned. She is the supreme intelligence of the universe, and she has something she wants me to say. Or not, for her. She says, baby girl 1 from me, named Nightingale with my Cristiano in Hungary. This is like commands she's telling me. Okay, commands she's telling me. Not like, it's commands. Baby girl 2, named Azurine with my Leon in Italy. Baby girl 3, named Ajite with my Posty in Italy. The purpose of those names, am I coming up with them? So I came up with them, and Scar Baby's like, name them. And here's your order and locations for conception and stuff. And birthing, if you can. So the point of those names that I chose, Nightingale, Azurine, and Ajite, is that I can take them out in nature and show them what shares their name. Nightingale being a bird, Azurine being a mineral and a rock, and Ajite being a mineral and a rock. So kind of like pumice. Azurine and Ajite are named kind of like pumice, and the Nightingale is kind of like timber. The squirrels. Okay. Now, I've talked about my 20-year map, which is like 20 to 22 years. And applying this to Hungary kind of goes to the Ontarian as well. So, Mathematic Institute in Hungary. I'll be after a PhD in physics in Italy. Take on collaborators within Institute. See if I can mentor someone for a project, be they with or outside the institution. Perhaps they even live in Hungary for a year to work on the project in person together before returning to their home base. So maybe they're based somewhere else, but they're like, I really want to work with you. So we figure out a way to make it work. And maybe the institution helps. All right, so they come for like a year and we work on a project. Something else. So if I'm like settling down, I'm at a place for like a decade. It's like something I might think about. Writing a book, but like a technical book. Something on weak interactions in physics. Lots of people were putting out books on symmetry and symmetries when I was in graduate school previously. I didn't get a degree. I did not graduate. Weak interactions have been around a while too. So that might be a way of saying physics is a bit different in that anybody can put out. I'm gonna eat it anyway. No. Anybody can put out. Oh, that's smoky. Anybody can put out a book, but there can be like 100 books on a topic because people like to write and people like to talk and people want to have people buy their book. So there you go. And then something kind of inspired by the Economics Sciences Prize today. And related to this in terms of thinking of a legacy of a king, maybe a good step forward towards the beginning of all this is if comes to be is writing my last will and testament with Josh after moving in with him and before moving to Italy. I do not have a last will and testament. So I was like, okay, so start on that, get something done. Order in which my stuff is allocated. 1, my parents. 2, my Aunt Annette. 3, my Grandma Connie. And 4, my Josh. Then Once we have that, update as frequently as necessary / as applicable thereafter. So, you know, if I go making money off my royalties and stuff, or I get married, or I have a kid, or something like that. All of the above, or something else, or one of the above that, or before, I guess. Unspoken word. Here's the sausage. Yeah, update it. And then we can see how many times it gets updated. How long, what's the lifespan of one of those? Do any of them outlive the length of my PhD? The one where I get a degree where I'm successful. It's good. It's like eating a brick of cheese. Or there's a lot of egg too. But it's very good. My little, you know, 880 calorie box. I made all my workouts today. I was like, I'm gonna do a mini feast. And it tastes like butter. Should I relate it back to the movie? This is like one of those trilogies. And I'm just like, now what do I do with my life? I watched it, but you know, sometimes movies are so good, it's just like, but I want to live in the movie, but I don't want to live in the movie, but like I just don't want the movie to end. So sometimes I gotta start dreaming and be like, can you imagine if I did this stuff and people want to watch it? And we actually got movies, or like a movie studio, you know, television studio. We got like books coming out, TVs, theater, movies, teas, YouTube videos. We could have a chance to make our very own. Would be really cool. 20 plus year. Do we get like job security in this? 20 plus year, like Lord of the Rings style. But I don't want to leave. So we don't. Yes. So that's the legacy of these movies. We need something epic for a long time. So those are my movie notes on The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, 2003 film, 14 October 2024 viewing.